I'm Cathy Martin with Intellectual Capital Consulting, and today I'm here with Nancy Vepraskas, who is a former colleague and friend. She has lots of experience in the strategic area of HR. Today we'd like to talk to Nancy about devising a service culture. And the question we have for Nancy is, you've been kind of defined in your career by implementing strategy through employees. So what are some tips you could give us to improve on or design a customer service strategy?
Well, Cathy, I think that one of the biggest challenges with the whole strategic talk is that people confuse strategy with actionable plans. They think of it as a goal. A high school coach says, our strategy is to win the state championship. Well, that's not a strategy, that's an aim. And so what you have to have in order to have real strategy is actionable steps. And so what you want to be thinking about, whether you're playing high school ball or you're running a business, is what is it that we're trying to win at? What strengths do we bring to the marketplace? What do customers need? What do employees need? What do we bring from an asset standpoint? What are the gaps between what we have and what we need to have to win? And then how do we bridge the gap? Employees are smart, customers are smart, they understand value, they have pretty reasonable expectations, but they expect to be told the truth about what they should expect from the operation.
Well, I love the analogy with the team and the sports analogy. So along those same lines, how do you communicate to the employees what your plan or your strategy is? In other words, how do you give them a playbook?
Well, I think it's a dialogue, it's a back and forth conversation, but you have to be real about what the skill set is. No coach is going to come in and say to a 150-pound kid, we expect you to win and we're going to put you up against blockers that weigh 300 pounds and think the player is going to think there's any way in the world that can happen.
Correct.
And I think that's what happens with a lot of strategy discussion. It sounds good at the board level, but you've got to get it absolutely real at the employee level so that they say, you're right. I could actually play that position, I could do those things, I understand what's expected of me, and I understand if I don't get it exactly right, somebody's going to be there to help me understand where I need to move a little bit to the left or a little bit to the right.
So how do you let your employees know when they're doing the right things to achieve that strategy? How do you reward those behaviors?
I'm really big on the fact that it's a constant conversation. It's not so much about, it's not to say that monetary or non-monetary bonuses aren't important, but what people want to hear about is they want to have a continuous feedback loop about did it work, did it not work? And part of that's just setting up very simple goal structures about, how employees ought to react, what kind of feedback they're going to give customers. How do I know internally? Again, if you go back to the sports analogy, I understand if I'm making ground. So you want to do that same thing in business. How do I know by myself that I'm making ground? Because then you can simply walk by and quickly say, thank you for making that happen, and I can translate that to repeat that behavior.
So on the front end, as an HR professional, how do you communicate those expectations of superior customer service?
I think it's getting truthful about what superior customer service looks like in your environment. Not a whole bunch of vague terms, but this is exactly what winning looks like.
And that's from the customer's perspective.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, the customer is the one that's making the decision as to whether or not it's a good customer experience. And customers have different expectations in different places that they walk into or talk to on the phone or whatever. So it has to be pretty targeted.
Well, sounds like, to wrap up, it sounds like it's just a continuous feedback loop from the customer to the employees, management, leadership. You're all talking the same talk.
Absolutely. And again, not to, just overemphasize a sports analogy, but that's why players come off to the sideline to get feedback to go on and make the next play. We see it every day, and so now we just have to bring it into the work.
I love that analogy. I think it's really appropriate. Thank you for your time today, Nancy.
You're welcome.